This is the Career Fairs 101 webinar for employers on how to make the most of your career fair, presented by San Diego State University Career Services. I appreciate everyone that's here. As a brief introduction to you all, if you can put in the chat the organization that you're with and what kind of positions you are currently recruiting for. And then as you all in the Zoom room enter that information in the chat, we can actually go ahead and start introducing ourselves, the Career Services staff. I'll go ahead and start with Andrew, and he'll lead off the introductions.
Thank you, Danny. Welcome, everybody. My name is Andrew Solis. I'm the Associate Director of Industry Relations. Danny?
I'm Danny Schwartz. I'm an Industry Relations Lead here in Career Services, and I'll go ahead and hand it off to Andre.
I am Andre. I'm an Industry Relations Lead here at Career Services. I'll have to Axel.
Hello, everybody. Welcome. My name is Oxum Turner, and I'm also an Industry Relations Lead here at San Diego State.
And I'm Lana. I'm the Marketing Communications and Event Specialist.
Great. Well, you met the team here today for you all. As you were all notified at the beginning, we are recording this presentation. So if you don't want your questions recorded or anything like that, feel free to message us directly and we'll get back to you later. And then if you don't want your camera on, that's perfectly fine too if you don't want to be recorded. We do want to upload this resource on our online platforms. All right. Well, it is 12:03. We want to respect everyone's time. I'm sure other people will hop in. I do want to just acknowledge there's a lot of different types of jobs. Thank you, everyone, for sharing in the chat. Interns, all majors, education. This is excellent. Sounds like really great opportunities for students. So we're excited that you're here. Various roles, branch interns. Excellent. Well, thank you for sharing those. You can keep them coming as well. We will have a Q&A at the end of the presentation. So unless someone specifies any questions about a particular service or tip that we share, go ahead and save your questions towards the end, and then we're happy to answer any and all questions towards the end. So without further ado, once again, anyone that's joined later on, this is the Career Fairs 101 webinar hosted by San Diego State University Career Services Industry Relations team. And we're here to share some tips and insights into career fairs. To start off, our mission statement here at Career Services is to empower students, our community, and industry leaders to pioneer new career pathways for today's workforce and tomorrow's possibilities. So we'll have three main sections of this presentation. First, we want to let you know who our students are. So our student population, our different degrees offered, and what you can expect when you meet with our students. Then we'll dive into the meat of our presentation, so the do's and don'ts of a successful career fair. And then we want to share about some really great free resources that you can also take advantage of outside of just the career fairs.
All right, so let's get into the overview of the San Diego State student body. So if you're going to be recruiting here at career fairs, this is kind of what you can expect in a snapshot. So to give you guys all a better understanding, here is our student body at large. You have close to 36,000 students who attend the school here. And as you can see here, I mean, I think some of the best things to highlight is are just our immense campus diversity. We're a first gen forward advisory institution. We're a Hispanic serving institution as well as an AANA IPSI federal designation. There are several cultural centers here represented on campus, so a very, very strong cultural representation. There are over 300 student-run organizations, and we have multiple campuses that students may show up from. Obviously, the San Diego State Mesa location, but we also have an Imperial Valley, a global campus, and Georgia, not Atlanta, Georgia, but Georgia, the country. And here you can kind of see just a breakdown of the enrollments by ethnicity and some of the more popular majors. I want to highlight, professional studies and fine arts is a large population of our students, as well as the sciences and business is a huge one. SDSU was recently ranked in Forbes top 25 public colleges list at number 16. That's, these are just some really, really, really great accolades and not the only things that we excel at, but just really wanted to point out, we're really well represented from a Hispanic ethnicity standpoint, and not listed here. Our gender ratio is about 51 to 49%. Women to male. So this is a really, really, really well represented campus for whatever recruiting purposes you guys are all trying to attain here. I think this meets a lot of your really well-skilled, educated diversity students.
Yes, career fair overview. Next slide. So these are the career fairs we have coming up for the fall semester, the spring semester, and the summer. As you can see, the STEM career fair is next week. That was sold out early. We have the fall fair coming up, the fall career internship fair, graduate fair, Imperial Valley fair, part-time seasonal job fair. And that's this semester. The spring semester have the same fair similar, the STEM, the spring, the Fowler, public health fair, Imperial Valley fair, and the just-in-time fair was a very popular fair as well, and the summer career fair. So this is through Handshake. You can register. You have any questions about cost or fees or anything, just let us know. We'll get back to you with that. Registration is open right now, except the STEM for all of the fairs if you're interested right now. Next slide.
Now we will talk about some tips. We'll do some research supported tips for attending a career fair as an employer, and then also just advice that we know is really valuable to share.
So prepare ahead of your career fair, know about the positions and opportunities. At a company a few times, basically we're hiring for the next year. Students didn't know that, so they're a little confused. So please let students know if it's part-time, if it's internship, if it's seasonal. That's very important for them to know where they want to hire, if they want to look for a position right now. Stand in front of your table so there's no barrier between you and the students. In the past, I've had some employers working on a laptop during a career fair. You have to remember, some of these students, the first time actually coming to a fair and they're nervous, so it's very impersonal and scary. So if you can, just be attentive to them, talk to them, let them know what you're looking for, and that way they feel more personal. Ensure that at least one person's at the table at all times. When you register for our fairs, it comes to 2 reps. The reason for that is it can be a lot. I mean, there's lines, there's students, so being by yourself can be very stressful. And so if it's 2 of you guys, one person can take a break. We have a lounge area. You can sit down if you want to eat, use a laptop, and use the restroom. You can come back. So definitely keep that in mind if you decide to come to a fair or register with us.
Okay. And then a huge part of coming to a career fair is posting on Handshake. So students have links to your positions that you post on Handshake when they go to the career fair page on Handshake. So posting those positions on Handshake and attending the career fair is going to be even more exposure for those particular positions. So every position you're recruiting for, it's great to have them all up to date on Handshake. Arrive early. So typically breakfast, unfortunately, we have to, because of catering and timing and room space, we do have to get rid of breakfast by the time the career fair starts. So if you do want to enjoy kind of some setting up time to set up your table, as well as get the lay of the land of other employers there, as well as enjoy breakfast that's provided, definitely recommend attending early, or as the arrival time set for that particular career fair, just so you're not rushing around and you're ready to talk to students once they start arriving. And students arrive early. We always kind of have a pile up right at the beginning of a fair, and at the beginning of the fair is typically the busiest part of the fair. So being ready right when the fair starts is definitely a great strategy. We don't recommend leaving the fair before the scheduled time. Class schedules fluctuate quite a bit, so students will be coming at the very last 15 minutes of that fair, and a big pool of students will be coming at that last 15 minutes of the fair. So staying the entirety of the fair is going to be really great for your recruitment, because you're going to catch all the students ready to talk with you. And if you do leave early and a student does come after the end of their class to come talk to you specifically, and you're not there, it doesn't send the best message branding wise that you're not at the table. Wear a name tag. So the coolest part about a career fair is a student being able to meet a recruiter, to meet a person that works at that company. It changes everything for them. So when they know your name, it's going to be really valuable for them. And it's the most valuable part for a student coming to the fair, is to meet you. So having a name tag and a business card is going to really add value to their experience. If it's comfortable and if it's part of your recruitment process, it's really nice to provide like a personal email address as well, versus a general email address. But even if you still provide that general email address, just because that's the way your recruitment works, definitely them knowing your name is going to be beneficial. It just makes it more personable with recruiting with your organization. Be approachable, professional, and sincere with attendees. Most recruiters are, most people that come to the career fair are people. So really genuine conversations with students is going to make a big impact with students. Create an enticing experience for students with cohesive and eye-catching table display. So be you, of course. There's different things. I've had people bring in live plants and put them on the table, and we've had people make ice cream and different things like that. So you don't have to go overboard, because what really students really care about the most is a good job, but definitely bringing a little personality or a little bit of color or something to hand out to students to entice them to come to your table is a great way to approach and engage students. And then the great thing, I mean, I'm sure you all know this, you're all pros, but creating a strategy for collecting student information, doing customer relationship management for your potential employees. So, getting that contact information, engaging with them, making sure you have a way to reach back out to them, whether it be a newsletter or social media or some way of a follow-up scheduled interview. A lot of employers will do interview signups, especially if they have high recruitment needs that kind of accept all majors. They'll just have students select an interview time, and then the following day or next week it will be in person at a site or online, and doing those interviews right away, so you don't lose them in the process and really get the recruitment started right away. All right, so now we'll transition to There's More. These are really valuable recruitment resources we want to make sure you don't miss out on.
So a major complaint I would say that I've heard from employers that have attended to our fairs or have tried to do other events is, they said they're not getting many students. Basically brand recognition. We're not a Google, we're not a a Microsoft. How do we entice students to want to come to our booths? Well, we have a free resource. I'll say it again, it's a free resource, Aztec Network. All you have to do is create a profile, and somebody on the back end, most likely me, will be approving you, and you have the freedom through our Aztec Network to post jobs. There's other programs within the Aztec Network that you can get involved with, like Aztec Mentor Program, which I'll explain in a second. But the Aztec Network is a collected space for our students, for our alumni, and for friends of the university to come together in one social media melting pot. So this is like if LinkedIn and Facebook decided to have a child. So as I said, this is a great place to post events. You can, if you would like to advertise to any of your internal employees, if they want to get into mentoring and kind of create that brand recognition, they can join what's called the Aztec Mentor Program. It's a 6-week sprint where students are encouraged to match with industry mentors And it's a really excellent way, once again, to really get your brand recognized and to do something good for the community, like mentoring for free. And I will drop that that site here so you can go ahead and create an account.
Handshakes, so job postings, you could reach over 36,000 students. You can post jobs, there's no limits, it's free, it's unlimited. You can let applications, you can renew job posts, and you can even do interviews virtually with students through Handshake. It's easy to access, it's free. If you're interested in signing up, you can email any of us, or you can email me directly, and I'll help you with that process, and so you can get started, basically.
Okay. I highly recommend everyone here create an Aztec network profile. It is an excellent way to network and meet valuable alumni as well as current students. So definitely. And then of course, posting on Handshake is really valuable. So the next step for recruitment is Hot Jobs and Employer Spotlight. This is a fantastic way to get in front of a lot of students. So we have a student newsletter that goes out the first of every single month, and it reaches every single active student as well as recent alumni. So alumni that have graduated in the most previous year. And the biggest platform is going to be an employer spotlight. This is going to be a way of sharing about your company and the opportunities available at your company. It's professional. It's a large section, so a lot of students' eyes are going to be on it. And then the hot jobs. These are the most clicked on aspect of the newsletter, so definitely recommend hot jobs. It's $50 investment, and then you're just going to get lots of clicks from lots of students interested in actively being hired. So if you are interested in doing the employer spotlight or hot job, you can just contact me directly. My email is in the chat, and then we'll of course send follow-up contacts. So we will be sending this presentation to you all at the end of this webinar, and on that on this presentation is all of our email addresses. So everyone you've met from our team today, so you can contact any of us about all these different services. And so definitely recommend Employer Spotlight and Hot Job and taking advantage of that recruitment service. And the next, meet with us. So you can meet with us virtually or in person. And what we can do is go through all the different resources and kind of figure out what resource make the most sense for your particular recruitment needs. And we can brainstorm different ways to partner in different pockets of students across campus. All right, now it's time for the Q&A. Here is all of our contact information as well. So those are all of our email addresses. You're always welcome to email us directly to connect with us for a virtual meeting. I'm a big fan of virtual meetings, so we're a big fan of just meeting employers in general one-on-one, so we can really tailor what you're looking for. But you can meet with all of us and then ask any questions as well. So that concludes the formal portion of our presentation. So now we can transition to questions. Questions can be put in the chat. We'll be monitoring that, or you can unmute yourself and ask in person as well.
For the STEM fair that's next week, I think it starts at 10 a.m. and you said get there early. What would be an early time for that? 8?
That's going to be a question for Andre.
Well, you can get there if you want at 8:30. I mean, the earlier to me, the better. The way you can get acclimated with the area. There's breakfast there. You can just, have some coffee that's provided for you. So the earlier you get there, the better. Just we'll be there by 8 o'clock initially. So that's fine for you to get there that time. It's up to you.
Thank you.
What's the biggest difference between Aztec Network and Handshake?
So Handshake is a formal job posting site. So this is where you're going to, you can collect applications, you can register for career fairs, and you're going to have a platform to highlight your employer profile. So it's a formal recruitment platform. Aztec Network is a social media site, essentially for SDSU alumni and friends. So this is going to be more connecting people to people and different forums and discussions in groups. So it's going to be a way of interacting with our students and alumni in a more informal way of connecting through person to person versus through employer to employer.
But essentially on Aztec Network being a social media site, you can still post a job posting there, correct?
There is a job forum, correct. So it's a less formal posting site than Handshake. Awesome, go for it.
Yeah, I mean, I would say, how many of you only check email and how many of you only check, text messages or whatnot? It's an extra added opportunity because I think that, our students may not be always, checking every potential communication method. So I think it adds you an extra layer. I would definitely say there's more student body at this time that utilize Handshake, which is obviously why that's highly more recommended. But I think some of the advantages with Aztec Network is not only the students, but some recent graduates or alumni. I've seen jobs posted on there for mid-level, everywhere to early career opportunities. So Aztec Network is free. As I said, it's just kind of an extra added opportunity for you to kind of make an impact. There's less opportunities, I think, on Handshake to say post a flyer or reach out to a certain demographic of people specifically.
Just to keep on the same question, the reason I bring that up is because, I mean, it's been maybe a year that I used Handshake last, and I remember I put some job postings, and then I also emailed who I thought were good candidates for the position. But I didn't get much feedback or traction on Handshake. Maybe the job that we were posting wasn't what somebody was interested in. It just seemed like Handshake was, yes, formal, but not a way to connect with potential people based on what I was looking for. So it just kind of felt too generic.
Yeah,
That's my feedback of Handshake. It just felt too generic and broad.
absolutely. Yeah, I understand that. I guess because this could be an offline question, but I still think that Handshake should be your number one go-to strategy, and I think that you can enhance the experience and the opportunity cross, cross advertising on Aztec Network.
Thank you.
Yeah. And feel free to message me, Cesar. We can kind of go through more strategy, and I'd love to hear more kind of about that case study and maybe why, whether it's something in the job posting that is not enticing the students or turnaround time. I'm more than happy to dive in that with you if you want to contact me offline.
Sounds good.
I would also say that on Handshake, since we're reaching so many students, they're very picky, and so they have access to over 200-300 companies. So if you have a big company, maybe they look at that listing, so it's also where you write your posting, your job description. So it's a lot more, you have to work more at that than compared to a regular site or one-on-one with Handshake. So there's a lot more options for students. So sometimes you may not get the replies you want, and sometimes you get more than you expect. So it's, that's the thing with Handshake, basically.
Thank you. We'll go ahead and go with Kemi, Kemi.
Yes, thank you. I was going to say as well for Handshake, because I connected with like the I don't know if they are the owners or something a while back, but I believe that's what they said, that most of the colleges and universities in the US have access to it. And that's like the main platform where we can post and things of that nature. But I find the same thing. I believe, I'm not too sure the person's name who just spoke, but I run into the same thing with a previous employer and my current one of I'm just not really getting responses. And, even if you sponsor it on Handshake, you may get more views, but you still may not get the quality of candidates that you're looking for. So it sounds like with Aztec, it's a little bit more personalized to your university, which is nice to see. So thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah, and I would, go for it.
I want to add one more thing is sometimes it's a brand thing, right? Students aren't necessarily understanding, and they're maybe blindly applying the stuff, just trying to find an opportunity. Those are all, you know, shotgun responses. But if you guys are local or happen to be in town during the career fairs, you know, if the online thing isn't working, then maybe, you know, adding another strategy like doing on-campus interviews, maybe doing some speed interviews, you know, utilizing our career services space to maybe, you know, have the students right then and there interview versus waiting for the applications to come through and then send them, you know, response. I'm just trying to think about, you know, potentially all strategies that you could utilize through us at Career Services.
I will say for Handshake, you're not alone. Like recruitment is just hard, and we all know that. You know, you gotta just throw it out there and see what happens, and then you try different things and what works. But with posting on Handshake, every employer for San Diego State University has to be vetted and approved, and every single job posting is also vetted and approved. So students are probably going to see job postings on other online platforms more likely than Handshake, like Indeed and different stuff like that, or on social media. But then if a student goes into Handshake and sees that the same job posting and that company is in Handshake, it's going to legitimize you a lot more to that student, knowing that it's a vetted, approved employer with their university. So it might not get as many clicks, but it's definitely a really good process in your recruitment cycle to show that you are legitimate and you are working with the university and you do have these great opportunities. So it is a good platform to kind of utilize for that, but other online platforms aren't going to give you that same kind of reputation.
Thank you.
These are great questions. We'll be here for a little longer, so feel free to keep them coming.
So we got a comment here. It says Handshake job postings don't have proper contact information for students. We get a lot of calls from students asking for contact information after applying to these jobs on Handshake, and that's absolutely accurate. I think that the data entry, although sometimes posting is a little tedious, you know, you guys should try to make it as clear as possible the steps to apply. Whether that's leaving the Handshake site and going to your own personal landing page, or if you need them to send in an email with their cover letter and resume, that should be somewhere, I think, in the job description to be as clear as possible as well, to maybe alleviate some of these issues.
Yeah, it's tricky with Handshake because old contacts are in there and they add up, and it's just it's a Handshake thing. And also, like, you can go in and try to update your employer account as much as possible, but someone might have higher access than you and they're going to be the contact. So you're not alone in saying that, and that it's complicated with Handshake of keeping the contact most up to date.
Did I hear someone say speed interview or something like that?
Yes, that's an option that we can offer here. If you would like to set up any type of speed interviewing using our spaces, or having us, you know, vet some of the candidates given some certain parameters and having them, you know, sending them your way. If you can't come on campus, you know, there's a lot of different touch points that we can offer to make sure that you are getting the right students.
What does speed interview look like? Is that something one goes on campus and there's several students who just want to see what's out there, or I mean, what does it look like?
Yeah, I think it's more of a personal info session. And there's a number of different ways to set it up based off of what you're comfortable with, but you could do group interviews and we can kind of help set up some interview questions. They could be one-on-one. You could send multiple reps and you know, send them through, having one rep represent you know, culture, having one rep representing just, you know, some of the other formats of the questions. There's definitely a multitude of options based off of what you're able to provide. So again, that's another situation where if you want to contact me outside of this, more than happy to workshop with you and see how we can get you the right students.
And to piggyback off that, if you guys are interested, we have an orientation this Friday about all our services we're offering to you guys, including that. So if Lana put the link in that, so you guys can click on that if you want to register. We talk about the new services, current and upcoming services too as well. And that can answer a lot more of your questions too in details.
Thank you.
Right. And once again, we will track who everyone came today and email you a copy of the presentation. And then we'll also email you kind of PDF of some of the tips that we shared and even more at the end after today's webinar. You could probably expect that by the end of this week.
I wanted to thank all the employers who took time out of their day to come to our webinar. This is one of many webinars that we'll be having. So please keep a lookout on all of our newsletters that we have going out and also on our website.